So actually, prior to this, before the general season started, Tyler's sister had a cow tag, and she, same thing, had never shot over like 100 yards, right? And so Tyler is getting her set up on this group of cows, and he's ranging for her and telling her what to dial, and she doesn't know what he's talking about. And so he's ranging and dialing her scope as they're like following these cows, and finally they get to a point where they stop and she shoots. And with a 6.5 Creedmoor at 550 yards, she drops this cow.
Yeah.
And people say, like, oh, the 6.5 Creedmoor, you was going to lose your animal and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
So,
I know a guy personally that hunts a lot. Him and his boy hunt a lot with 6.5 Creedmoor.
mm-hmm.
And they've killed a lot of animals.
Yeah.
Usually one shot, one kill. Even a lot of elk, too.
Right.
6.5 Creedmoor. But, I mean, yeah, 6.5 Creedmoor gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But...
Well, I mean, but then the very next day, or I don't know exactly when she shot her cow, but Seth's was on opening day. This elk packs a bullet off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now we're like, oh no, we got full of ourselves. It's not as capable as we think it is. Well, then Seth, after I come home and everything, Seth fills his tag, and then Tyler fills his. And all of the animals in their family, his sister, and his sons, were all over 500 yards with that same rifle, with a match bullet.
That's awesome.
And this is with the same rifle that Tyler shoots PRS with and shoots NRL Hunter with. And so, yeah. And I built that rifle too. I'm pretty proud of that. So.
The longest shot I've ever made on any animal, it was on spike season. I think I was in high school still. It was 500, I think it was like 550 yards, my 30-06.
Jeez.
But that was that was the longest shot. Let's see, this year that bull was 270, which was finally got a stretch of that rifle.
Yeah.
Because
you've been using it for a brush gun
at
this point.
Yeah, last year shot a bull at 40 yards. The year before, I shot a bull at 80 yards. And then the year before that, I shot a bull in Idaho at about 70, 80 yards with that 30-06.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's crazy because the biggest bucks I ever killed, too. The biggest mule, one of the biggest mule deer I've ever killed was 40 yards away. Right below a rim rock. I actually missed him the first shot.
It's hard. So
and
when
then he stood up, and the second one I got him right in the heart, but it was like one of those things. I looked over and I scanned, and he was sitting there so still, I almost looked over him, and I looked and he stared at me, and I thought I was dreaming. And then just hurry up, quick shot and everything too, and it's like two of the biggest whitetail I've ever killed in Idaho. I missed him the first shot. And then the last big whitetail I killed in Idaho, I missed him the day prior. And because whitetail, when you shoot at them, believe it or not,
I know exactly what you're about to say.
they stick around the same spot.
Oh, okay. That's all I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say when you shoot at them, they somehow know that you shot before the bullet gets to them and they jump out of the way.
Well,
so, because I've actually, there's a video that's been going around of course, it's archery, so it's going a lot slower, but of this whitetail ducking this arrow.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's subsonic. They really do hear it before it gets there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you have to have literally lightning quick reflexes to be able to do that.
My dad has had elk do that to him, too.
Duck arrows.
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Or jump them.
Yeah. But then the last big whitetail I killed, I missed him the day prior. And it was dumb. Because in Idaho, we sit on a stand for like 10 hours straight. And it was about late morning. And I knew there were two big bucks in the area because we found the rub lines and everything going down to where I was sitting about maybe like a 2-mile walk in. And I was sitting there until about 11:30 that day. And I was like, I'm starving. So I get out my trail mix and I'm eating my trail mix. And I look up and this buck is already halfway down his clear cut. So I drop my trail mix, throw up, and I did what I should never do. He got at the bottom of my cut and I pulled my shot. I missed him. I walked down there, tracked him, everything. Saw the big track. I'm like, crap, no blood. I missed him. So the next day, I was like, I'm gonna stick around. Went down the same spot, and I sat there in the rain. Did not stop raining. Rain in the fog for 4.5 hours straight. And then I look up, and I see this doe. I'm like, okay. And I look down, and that same buck comes out from the day prior, comes out in the same spot where he went down. And he stops behind a fir tree. He's looking. Goes behind another one, looking. Goes behind a third one, he's looking. I'm sitting there and I'm ready. I'm like, commit, damn it. And then he committed, nose down, and there was fog coming in quick. I'm like, oh, I gotta do something. So I pulled up, boom, I shot. I see him take off, the fog comes in. I'm like, okay, I know I got him. So I wait till fog passes, I get up and walk a little bit, and there's a down log about 180 yards down. I can see with my naked eye, there's like a blood spot like that on the log. So I was like, look, throw binoculars, I'm like, oh cool, I got him. I hit him, the bullet hit the heart, lungs, and nicked the liver. He still went like 150 yards.
Oh yeah.
They have a will to live like no other.
Yeah, they run on adrenaline. That's why I'm like, the couple spine shots, you know, that I've had, I'm like good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, they're not going to take off running, you know, and you know, I have a friend of mine that somebody that kind of mentored me hunting, and I grew up hunting her property and stuff like that. She always just went for the shoulder with the 7 mag. It was, you know, she was older and not, you know, as able-bodied, and she's like, you know, I've never had an animal get away because I just go for the, you know, the shoulder bone or, you know, the socket or the blade or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I lose a little bit of meat, but, you know, they're just the thing that happens when you hit a shoulder blade just right, especially with a higher powered rifle, is when the bullet hits that shoulder blade, that bullet will spall out and it will cut. I've seen it happen with a 223. It will basically cut their heart in half. I mean, that spalling is like, it's like razor blades flying through there. And so, you know, you kind of get a 2-for-1. You reduce their mobility, but then also, you know that they've like the timer is set, right? They've only got so long before they're not getting oxygen to their brain, to their muscles, and all this stuff, and then they shut down. And so it's not like you're wounding them and they're not going to die. I don't agree with that 100%. There was this one time, it was with my 30-06, and I was actually shooting the old school, what were they? Partitions?
No, it wasn't partitions. If it was a partition, it would have been a different story. I'm going to be biased.
See, that's what I'm saying.
It was one of those old school.
Like core locked?
No, it was like a spear or Barnes bullet.
Oh, like the hot cores, spear hot cores.
The one kind with the flower tip on it. Hollow point.
Oh, that's like the Sierra,
Sierra Game Kings. Yeah, the old school Sierra Game Kings. Yeah. I had this buck downhill in this canyon. I'm gonna stop you right here. I'm gonna say those bullets fucking suck. They do. So they do. I shot this. So I'll preface what I said earlier about make sure you know what you're doing and how a rifle is actually a bullet that's actually capable. Yeah. So okay. Okay. So we got that cleared up. But this buck was downhill maybe about 250 yards. I aimed for his shoulder and I shot. And you could hear the crack throughout the canyon, that bullet hit the shoulder, and that buck drops. I'm like, perfect. I like jack another shelling. He stands up, starts running. So because it just basically that bullet just exploded. Yeah. You got to have something that's going to hold it together. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't just have
You know, like I wouldn't do that with a match bullet. I guess I'll put it that way. Like I'm not going to shoot an elk in the shoulder blade with my 6.5 Creedmoor.
No.
You know what I mean? Now, if I had a 6.5 Creedmoor and I was like within like 100 to 200 yards, and it was with like an ELDX or something like that, that's going to hold together a little better, then yeah, I might consider it. But then at that distance, you got your pick of shot placement. You know what I mean? So you know, I don't know. It's an interesting set of circumstances that informs your decision about what is going to be the most effective shot. Like, am I going to go for a spine shot? No, because we're talking about, you know, a target this big. Yeah. Like I can't reliably, if that's what happens, lucky me. But I'm not going to aim. It's like a headshot. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
you know, if they're like right in front of you, okay, maybe, but you know, that's also not your first instinct because that's not what you train yourself to do. So
because then you can hit him in the jaw. It's gonna be messy inside. But in my bowl 2 years ago, he came down. He's following cows 80 yards away, and I was holding up my rifle forever. And then I was like, okay, branch bull, and I pull up, and I hit him with a Mert. And you're like, stop looking. I'm like, okay, next shot. I'm moving too much. I'm like, nope, back. Boom, I shot. He goes down. I jack another shot really quick, and he's pawing towards this steep drainage. I always walked out. I'm like, hell no. So I ran up, and then right as he's going over, boom, I shot him again, and he went down about maybe like 100 yards. But my bull in 21 in Idaho, I spined him intentionally.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because where he walked up, it was like a drainage like that. And if I shot him in the vitals, and if he would have went down there, oh god, it would have been absolute hell. So I had plenty of time in the world. They had no idea I was there, and it was like a 70-yard shot. So I aimed for the back, and I could watch him eating like the moss off the limbs and everything. So I was steady, boom, I shot. He went down, dragged another shot, and I ran up and just shot him in the neck.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I shot the deer that I shot in Naha last year, not this year because we didn't get anything this year, but last year I actually wasn't ready at all. We were leaving and we were like behind this guy and we see these does and we're like trying to get to our hunting spot, right? Like I wasn't dressed. My rifle was in the back seat. We were going to get to where we were going and gear up. I'm still wearing like pajama pants and like a flat and like a fleece zip up shirt, right? And we're behind this dude and he's like watching these does. I'm like, come on, man. I was like, we're going to be stuck behind this guy all day. And, you know, eventually we're going to get around him, but then he's going to come right through where we're going probably. And, you know, I'm like, okay, whatever. And so I'm like, well, I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to wait. And it's early. It's just starting to get light. We got kind of a late start anyway because we had the kids with us. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, well, it's not like we're going to get up there in the dark. Like, you know, we plan to. Like, we might as well take our time. Well, I'm watching these does, and I got my binoculars out. And here comes horns over the hill. And I'm like, oh, shit. And so I had my 300 blackout. I had my AR in the front seat. Mm-hmm. And so I grab the AR and jump out. And I kind of get down behind this log, you know, and he comes up and he's like up on the top of this hill. And I mean, he's got to be, that cannot be more than 50 yards. I mean, it's probably like 35 yards, right? And I'm like, all right, this is it. Like I'm not ready to do this, but like, it's like 15 minutes after opening day. And I didn't plan on that luck, you know what I mean? And I shot him and he lurched up, you know what I mean? And he just took off and I'm like, crap. And my wife is like, she was like, did you get him? And I'm like, yeah, I got him. And I got to go after him, right? And so I take off after him up this hill. I'm wearing like I said, I'm wearing like pajama pants. And so I take off with my 300 blackout, you know, it's semi, I don't have to, you know, jack another shell in or anything or put it on safety. And I run up, and these two does are still standing there, and they like look at me like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And they take off the opposite direction, and I'm like scanning out far, and I look in front of me a little ways, and he's laying down right there, and he's down, and he's looking at me, and like I could see him kind of like he like gets his hooves up underneath him, and I was like, "No, you fucking don't, dude." And I was like, I'm not gonna try to vital shoot him because I don't know what my thing is about shooting them when they're laying down. I haven't quite sussed out like where everything goes when they lay down. You know what I'm saying?
And there's like
there's
always like a huge argument on that too, because people always you got some group of people that's like, oh, it's not ethical shooting an animal that's laying down, and then there's people that are like, yeah, go for it. It's like, my theory is, if you know you can take a good shot, take a good shot.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just my logic.
Yeah. So I opted for right behind the ear, and I just put the crosshair right on the head, right at the base of the skull, and shot, and that was it, lights out. And so, I had kind of a similar thing where I was like, I had the opportunity, because I saw him, he was getting ready, like he was looking at me like, I could tell he didn't want to run because he was already wounded, but he wasn't, he definitely still had a little bit left in him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am not going to chase this thing all over hell.
And you have to follow a shot in that situation too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you gotta make it quick.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they're not suffering and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 2024. Nothing else important died by my hand this year. So last year I shot a couple rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
So I hadn't seen any in years, and I was literally just telling somebody, they're like, I don't ever see snakes around here. And that day I was going up Mount Harris Loop, and I saw one, and I was like, oh, we had just got off Gray's Corner Road, and saw one and jumped out and shot it. Made sure he was actually dead and everything, threw it in the back of the truck, and then went up the road just a little ways. Not even 5 minutes later, here's another one coming down the road, and jumped out and got it too. So
yeah, they like to hang out in that area quite a bit.
That's what I've heard, is that there's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
So
in the summertime, bored, go up there.
Yeah. Yeah,
shoot some rattlesnakes.
That's like one of our go-to routes. Like when we want to just take a drive through the woods, we just go up and over, and we come down Indian Creek, and come out in Elgin, and then go back around. Either come out the highway, or we go up like Dutton Road and go out down like Reinhardt Lane and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a neat drive, just kill the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of in the spring. There's a lot of calf brains and stuff like that. In Indian Creek, I don't find many morels there, but I like calf brains. They're actually one of my favorite mushrooms, and they come out early, so before the morels pop. A lot of people don't eat them. So
yeah, there's kind of like a select few that do. I don't know. I look for morels when I'm not looking for sheds or bears.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's that spring season and morel season overlap. So
and it's crazy because like it never fails. When you look for bears, you find sheds. When you're looking for sheds, you find bears. That's what it seems like. Just like, I don't know. There was always a joke for close family friends that when you see turkeys, there's elk.
Yeah.
But
I've heard that before. I've always told everybody that every unsuccessful deer hunt turns into a successful grouse hunt.
No kidding. Oh yeah.
We shot a lot of grouse in Mohawk last year. We only shot one or two this year.
Yeah.
And last year there was several times where we'd come around the corner on a trail or something, and they would just be like lined up. And I'm trying to give Melanie more opportunities to hunt and stuff like that. So I give her the rifle, and I'm like, don't fuck this up. And like, what she do? She shoots and misses. Two of them fly off. She goes up the road a little way and shoots another one and gets it. And I'm like, okay, next time is my turn, right? And so same thing. We're walking down this logging road, and we're picking mushrooms and stuff on the way and everything, picking shaggy beans and stuff grow that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking for deer, and all of a sudden there's all these grouse right here, and I'm like, oh crap, and there's like 4 of them. And she's got the rifle, and she goes to pull up, and I go, give me that. And I pull up, and I go, pew, 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 pew. And I shoot 3 of the 4 of them. And I'm like, that's how it's done.
Oh, yeah. I saw so many grouse muzzleloader hunting, too. And it's like, you're sneaking stuff, and they fly off, and get a heart attack. But I can't believe how many blues
the beat of their wings, man, is like, so many, like, there was one time I was pretty sure I was being, well, I was sure, and then I was, it turned out I actually was, being stalked by a cougar. And this grouse flushed this grouse out and jumped down and about shit my pants. Mm-hmm. And then on the way, the way people say that, like, if you're cougar hunting in the winter, the way that you find them is you walk in a circle, and you'll come back around to where you were, and there'll be cougar tracks.
Leapfrog.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So that was definitely what was going on. Yeah. And it gave me the heebie-jeebies, so I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm not going to stick around. So I started to leave, and I was actually on my bike, and I was going down the hill, and I turned around and took one last look behind me, and there he was standing right up. He didn't want to come out in the clearing, at the top of the road. It kind of came out into an area where there was no timber or anything. And he didn't want to come out of that cover, but he was standing right up there on the top of the hill. And I was like, yeah! That one's got eaten.
I've actually called him in during archery season before.
Oh, really?
With an elk call. Oh, yeah.
I didn't really think they wanted anything to do with an elk.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah, they do. It's like, I've seen so many lions the last probably 10 years. No, actually, maybe about the last 13 years. I've probably seen 10 lions the last 13 years. I killed 2 of them.
Yeah, see, I always get a tag, and I just never seem to see one when I'm ready. So, I never come across them when I'm ready. Either I don't have a gun at all, or it's so quick, they're gone, and I'm like, well, I ain't going after that. Yeah. Like this year, we saw a bear. We were leaving camp one morning, and I see his butt take off into these bushes, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go after him, and then I ran in there, and then I kind of, same thing, I kind of got the heebie-jeebies, and I was like, okay, I'm not going too far in here because I don't know where he went.
Yeah.
And one thing I didn't do is I didn't look up to see if he got treed, and it dawned on me later that's probably what he did, is he probably went up a tree. And so but yeah, it's, going predator hunting is fun, but then you have to contend with the very real possibility that it's going to fight you back. So you don't have to worry about that with the undulates. So
I've had some close calls too, especially with sows and cubs.
Yeah.
And I see mom at like 100 yards away, and she's looking back, and I hear cubs bawling, and I don't know where they're coming from. So I'm like, all right, I have my hand on my 45. I'm like, okay, and then I see them running out, running towards me. I'm like, don't do that.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then they go
don't
back
put
up.
Between
I'm
you
like,
and her.
oh my god. Yeah. Especially now, there's been some sightings of grizzlies too.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. What's interesting is it seems like in the last couple years, we're getting more animals, which is really weird because of the wolves. But I'm seeing more of other kinds of animals. I'm seeing less deer and less elk, but I'm seeing more other stuff. And like one of the things is I haven't seen a bobcat in like 20 something years.
Really?
Yeah. And then I saw 2 of them when we were hunting this year. And they're like playing with each other and stuff. And I was like, man, that's so cool. Like I haven't seen one in so long. The other thing is my dad always told me that about like the kind of like weasel type animals that we have.
Like a mink?
Yeah, like mink, pine martens,
mm-hmm.
which I don't know if you've ever seen a pine marten.
Oh, yeah.
It's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like a Pokemon or something like that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, like little round ears and stuff. Yeah. And pine martens, I guess we have like ermine and like stoats and stuff like that, like all these other like weasel family. And I just saw pine marten for the first time. Like my dad told me about him. I've seen pictures of him in like for fish and game and stuff like that. But I just saw one for the first time, I think last year, and I saw another one this year. And so I'm like, I don't know if I'm just like paying attention more now. You know what I'm saying? And like the same thing with like the rattlesnakes. For some reason there seems to be more like critters, like little critters. And I don't know if that has something to do with like the ecology. You'd think the wolves would munch all that stuff up. And so I don't know if there's some other key in the chain. I don't know if maybe like our raptor population, like our hawks and eagles and falcons and stuff like that, are dwindling, and maybe that's leading to the smaller animals and stuff.
I don't know. It seems like,
or if it's just a conservation thing that they're coming back, or
it's crazy because the last couple years I've seen a lot more grouse.
Yeah.
And we actually saw a couple bobcats during muzzleloader season 2.
Okay, yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I know. Well, I know for a fact we got way too many lions.
Yeah, I've heard that for years.
Oh yeah, ever since was it back in '92, Oregon outlawed hunting with dogs,
yeah.
which I think they definitely shot themselves in the foot with that idea. And of course,
it's silly that you can just buy a tag over the counter, but you can't hunt with dogs.
But you can hunt dogs with bobcats, but not a lion.
You can hunt bobcats with
dogs,
with dogs, but not what? That doesn't make any sense to me. To me, bobcats is just because I've seen them in a long time. Like, I haven't seen many in my life. To me, bobcats are like almost endangered. You know what I mean? Like, the cougars are everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's just another example of a misguided policy.
Yeah, I'm just like
Oregon.